Welcome to Chasing After Dark, the podcast that takes you deep into the heart of the storm.
In each episode, Nathan Lorenzen and Tia Justice will dig deep, unearthing the hottest topics impacting the weather world, surrounding weather history, forecasts, and controversy.
So switch off the lights,
grab your favorite beverage,
lean in,
and listen closely, because nothing is as it seems in the world of weather.
And remember to stay safe and don't get twisted.
Alright, everybody. Good evening. I'm Tia Justice.
I'm Nathan Lorenzen.
And this is Chasing After Dark. We are going to beg your pardon this evening as we are still working out the kinks, so to speak, with this podcast and kind of reinventing it as we go along. So any glitches with the podcast environment and so on, kind of give us a little bit of leeway with that.
I hope to have it more polished by the next episode.
Yeah, we should.
We should.
Neither one of us are podcast specialists. We're just winging it at this point in time. Not podcasters. But we're going to try. So, I think the first thing that we should talk about this evening is how crazy the weather has been this last week.
Had a whole week. I think every single day this week has had a risk of severe weather.
Yeah, to some extent. Except for, today we had that little brief marginal risk type situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yesterday was mainly like a flooding event, and we still even saw some pretty crazy stuff. And then the before that was the show for southern Indiana. Northern Indiana largely just...
Yeah, not just this week too. It's been a lot of the season as well. I hope that changes soon. So I'll get some action.
I know. Southern Indiana absolutely 100% needs a bit of a break. Especially the Evansville area. They could seriously use a break.
Yeah, chasing in the hills too. It's such a pain. You got to try to find a field before the storm gets to you. And I'd like to chase Kokomo area. It's perfect. It's flat.
It's one of my favorite areas to chase, the whole Miami County, Howard County.
Yeah, that or Eastern Illinois. That's even better. That's like Kansas. It's just beautiful.
A little bit. Yeah, we've been sent so many photos and videos from you guys.
Great picture.
Yeah, some of the pictures are incredible. Yesterday, the shelf cloud that moved through on that one storm from, we got pictures from Macy, we got pictures from Denver, Peru. It was all the same cell, and it was just this ground-crawling supercell with a very, very, a very scuddy shelf cloud. It was absolutely gorgeous. You guys can actually catch those photos.
Yeah, I wanted to go catch a cloud in a bottle.
Pretty much did yesterday.
I'm going to keep a bottle with me in case I get a ground scraper again. I can just go shoop and catch one. Oh. Yeah. I got a silver in a bottle.
That was my experience yesterday.
I don't see anything. It's just air.
It's a shelf cloud in a bottle.
Special air.
Oh, Lord. Sorry, guys. Let me see if I can adjust my volume just a little bit. We are having some issues with volume control.
I know Discord. It can you can have the automatic setting for your volume. Do you have that turned on?
I do.
Huh. That's weird.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. If I can.
Am I too loud or too quiet?
Well, I have you toggled where you're pretty good.
Okay.
I think it's a headset thing. I accidentally pinched the wires. So that
You get you a good microphone.
I'm working on it. Oh wait, my output volume is way the hell down. I apologize.
Lord, I apologize for that right there.
Okay, I think that's better. How about that? Does that sound better to everybody? Yeah, I'll talk back to it. All right, better. Thank you. Okay, awesome. It was my fault. I didn't have things toggled correctly.
That's okay. It happens.
Admonish, admonish.
It happens.
All right. Um. So yesterday, I finally got a chance to go out and storm chase a little bit, and the video is actually on our Facebook page, and I think it's floating on TikTok and Twitter now as well. But because of the humidity and how low the LCLs were, it was just everything was on the ground. It was crazy, and I was right underneath the low there, so but everything had some spin, and we had this little overachiever type cell that came through Lagrange and then down into or between what is it, Tipton there? Is it Tipton? I think it's Tipton. Tipton and Wolcottville and down towards the Corunna area. And everything was just spinning. It was really, really creepy and awesome to look at, but not quite enough for me to get my fill of storm chasing again. Northern Indiana's largely been neglected this year. We had like one or two little pop-up type situations. There's that
Bird farts.
yeah, the Ebola tornado was a joke. Um, and then there's that whole situation that happened out near Crown Point, not last night but the night before, that was interesting. We're not sure if it was a funnel cloud or just a ground scraping weird tail end like of a wall or whatever it may have been, but it was beautiful to look at. I know a couple really good chasers, like Paul Goddard, caught some really beautiful photos of it. Our very own Adam White was on it. And then we got sent photos of what appears to be a funnel from the Crown Point and Hebron area. So we're always very interested to see stuff that comes in with you guys. Which kind of gives us a bit of a segue. That cell was not even severe warned when all of that happened. And I think with this past week, for sure, it's kind of highlighted a few discrepancies, really, with how the National Weather Service has been handling severe weather.
It's been lackluster. They've been slacking almost.
Yeah, it's almost like they're sleeping on it.
Yeah.
And it's not just Indiana either. It's literally just nationwide. Like it's really strange. We did a little bit of research on why certain storms aren't warned, and the information that we came back with is just alarming. It's something that the public should be made aware of, and we're going to go ahead and bust that wide open tonight as well. I'm going to go on the record and say there's no reason why 26% of tornadoes are unwarned. And that's 26% of tornadoes, like confirmed tornadoes, are unwarned. That was between 2000 and 2004. There was 26% of tornadoes were unwarned. But there was another study that was conducted with data from 1994 to 2016 that showed that only 60% of confirmed tornadoes occurred within tornado warnings.
That is why chasers and spotters are so important, because they rely the ground information to verify that kind of stuff. Hang on a second.
Sure, no problem.
Continue.
Sure. And that literally means, like, if you guys are sitting there like trying to math this, it means that 4 out of every 10 tornadoes were unwarned. That means that people had no idea that they were coming. 4 out of 10 during the period of 1994 to 2016. There's been no additional studies so far, so we don't know really what's going on between 2016 and 2024. Renee Graham, she says that we were advised of a funnel cloud in Newton County, Indiana tonight. I did see a photo of what looked like a cold air funnel, and that's confirmed it was a cold air funnel. Cold air funnels are adorable.
Yes, they are.
They really are cute. They really don't pose much of a risk at all, and if they do touch down, they just kind of form like a little land spout, very short-lived, doesn't really do too terrible much. I don't think I've ever seen a land spout rated, at least not in Indiana, I don't think I've seen a land spout rated higher than an ep.1, maybe.
remember seeing a cold air funnel. I think it touched down when I was younger over my hometown. That was frightening. I went out with my little Lego airplane because Legos are cool. And I turned around and saw it. It was just this white trunk in the sky. Wild. I think that may have been where my fascination for weather started.
That makes sense. That would absolutely track. I think having those type of experiences, they definitely last, and you either have a phobia or you face your fear and there.
That's why it's,
Go ahead.
and that's why I said it's so crucial to have photos coming in from all you people and spotters and chasers on the ground, because it helps verify what the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service think they might not see on the radar. It helps bridge that gap of misinformation and wonder.
And that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true, because the first thing they'll tell you during spotter training, if you go in as a rookie spotter, you go to spotter training, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is that there are oftentimes storms that aren't seen by radar for whatever reason, whether the rotation or whatever occurs underneath the radar beam, or you have these really brief QLCS type spin-ups that happen in between scans. They happen very briefly. They touch down. They do enough damage in between scans, and then by the time that the scan comes through, it still looks like there's really very basic, not enough, or not, the rotation's not tight enough, so to speak, even though the damage has already been done.
And especially in areas where there's mountains or hills, the radar can't even penetrate. You don't even see a storm on radar. And then you look at the radar, and there'll be polygons for a severe thunderstorm warning, and you go, what's going on here? It's important.
It is, and another big thing that we have the issue with here, especially in Indiana and all over the Midwest, are wind turbines. So you can get very, very confusing radar returns when a storm passes through an area that has wind turbines.
Sometimes radar can pick up on heavy traffic around a city on the interstates too.
Mm-hmm. It's not infallible. It's not, which is why it blows my mind that the National Weather Service has this whole prerogative, this thing that's been going on, and it's called the Tornado Warning Improvement Process, or TWIP. And they did it to try to decrease the number of, quote, false alarm tornado warnings. Because it's become kind of reticent to like overwarn, and some of it's, we all whine and get irritated or whatever when our TV programming is interrupted by streaming or of tornado warning or sirens going off.
But they're trying to save your life. That's the thing.
That's exactly it. And I know that it's a cry. A lot of people accuse it of being a cry wolf situation, where 9 times out of 10 nothing happens to your backyard. But there's going to be that one time. There's going to be that one time, and for people, 40%, 40. So 4 out of 10 tornadoes, 40%. People have zero warning, and it does happen even today. Matador, Texas, that thing was on the ground for something crazy like almost 20 minutes before there was a warning up.
Unacceptable.
It was unacceptable. Jay County, back in 2021, I was on that tornado. I can tell you exactly what date it was. It was June 18th, 2021. And it put down a tornado and went through Bryant, Indiana, and then on into Fort Recovery, Ohio. And it was on the ground for a good 15 minutes with chasers giving them information, sending them videos, sending them photos before they...
Wow.
It destroyed a home before they sounded a warning. I remember doing...
I wonder why that was. Kind of wonder why that happened.
I don't know. The radar looked picture perfect to me. There's... it's starting to create this complacency with the National Weather Service surrounding tornado warnings. There are so often times where we sit back and we are watching the radar to make a decision on things, like our own decisions, while we're chasing, while we're looking, or late at night when we're running radar, and keeping an eye on communities for you guys so we can post updates on our Facebook page and our social media to try to keep you guys ahead of the storm. Where we'll look at something and go, why is this not warned?
Mm-hmm.
And most recently, the one that I think of, it comes to mind like immediately, was just this past week. It might have been Monday night, Tuesday night, where you were chasing, you were coming home, and I remember warning you. I said that storm near Clay City. Keep an eye on that. And sure enough, I wound up posting a heads up because they did not tornado warn it, and we couldn't know why it was a tornado warn. We posted a heads up on our page for people that were in Clay City, Worthington, and then down near like Bedford, that whole area, that whole line. And
I remember now.
yeah, and then sure enough, the next morning, it never went tornado warned, but sure
I remember
the next morning they were doing damage surveys for it.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I remember the National Weather Service putting out the graphic that had the helicity tracks.
Yep.
Wanting to know if people can get damage surveys.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember driving home on 46. Behind it, it was pitch black, and I was keeping my eye on it to my south. I remember that now.
Yeah, because you told me it was like apocalyptic out there.
Yeah, the lightning was nuts.
Yeah. So we have to remember that with tornado warnings, we want greater lead time. So we want you guys to have the most time available to you as possible to get to safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with this TWIP program, this tornado warning improvement process, it's working backwards. There's a meteorologist by the name of Jonathan Bells who in 2017 made note that warning lead time averages have dropped from 13 to 14 minutes to 8 to 9 minutes as a direct result of the attempt to address this, quote, false alarm problem.
I'd rather it be a false alarm.
I mean, personally, I would too. You know, there's more National Weather Service forecasters that are waiting until a tornado is confirmed by trained spotters or law enforcement before issuing a warning. And what we're finding more and more is that they are waiting for the law enforcement to say, hey, I'm Deputy so-and-so. I see this. Or this house got hit on this road in this county. Even over and above listening to their trained spotters. Okay? To make it even more weird, some of these National Weather Service offices in Indiana, we have Northern Indiana, which is IWX, and we have Indianapolis, which is IND. And I know for a fact they use this because you will see some severe thunderstorm warnings where they're adding tornado possible tags on it.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than saying, hey, there's a good chance that there's a tornado on this storm and we're just not 100% sure. They're in tiny little, like, barely there footnotes, possible. And that's to cover their own ass. This is after dark. We're not going to apologize for swearing. So if you've got kids, you might want to cover your ears. It's after dark. Well, it will be after dark after it's no longer summer, but you guys get the idea. This is a very adult, it's very, very open. We're not going to sugarcoat anything for anybody. We're going to tell you how it is. Why are we not calling a spade and issuing a damn warning?
Well, not just tornadoes, too. Like, damaging winds that can be as strong as tornadoes.
Right.
They need to do something with that, like maybe come up with a new polygon, because you have PDS tornadoes and confirmed and all that jazz.
Well, even with PDS, the reason why they issue these PDS are particularly dangerous situations, as it stands for. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for.
Yes.
They issue them on confirmed tornadoes that are large, destructive tornadoes, or tornadoes that are moving into a highly populated area.
Yeah.
Right. So why don't we have a PDS severe warning for storms like the derecho that just went in Missoula the other night?
Do they still have no power?
Yeah, they're still without power, most of them.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Why? I understand that a severe warning is anything with sustained winds or gusted winds over 58 miles an hour. Why are we not having something more with more oomph, more warning power
Uh-huh.
with winds that are over 65 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour? That's a good threshold. 70 seems like a
That's
good threshold.
getting up to an EF0 tornado.
Right. And we already know that straight line winds are a hell of a lot more damaging than tornado damage, even.
More widespread.
Right. And they're sustained for longer. Like, as a derecho, for instance, moves through your area, you are going to be impacted by straight line winds for, I've seen it, for up to almost a half hour long as that gust comes through. That whole line, that leading edge moves through, and then what's right behind it.
Not to mention spin up tornadoes along with it.
Right, which is what we saw the last time that little derecho came rolling through, and we had the aftermath of it. Right. God, that was like 2 weeks ago.
That wasn't long at all.
No. And it's one of those things. It's like, well, what the hell? Why aren't we having that, these warnings for things like, I understand that derecho, they don't rate something or call something a derecho until after it meets criteria, and usually that's called the day after. Or it's got to be like sustained severe level winds, so 58 miles an hour or higher with damage over 240 miles or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, so you can't really call a derecho until it crosses that threshold. We get that. But you can have warnings for straight line winds. Or a PDS severe warning for if you're seeing returns on radar with winds over 70 miles an hour. We just call it, a PDS.
I wonder if it has to do with funding.
Maybe. Or this bullshit that they're coming up with wanting to not cry wolf, or, this TWIP crap.
It's so frustrating.
It is. It is, while we're out here trying to keep everybody safe.
Especially when you send in reports of an ongoing tornado to the National Weather Service and they completely ignore it.
Yeah.
Oh. I think they should start having, what was I going to say? Like a downdraft watcher advisory or microburst watches. I don't know, something along those lines if storms are packing a punch that day that could be strong enough. You know what I'm trying to say.
Well, on days where there's microbursts that are likely, absolutely.
Hungry brain.
Like an advisory watch on days where there's like decape of like 1,000 joules or more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yup.
Absolutely. I mean, let's look and see. Let's look and see. Your hometown, Bloomington. It looked like a bomb went off that day where that microburst happened over your town.
There's so many sticks down, and I ended up driving through southeast of town where the winds were greater on velocity on radar, and the damage was 2-3 times as bad. I was driving through the hills, and there were trees bent over the road, causing like tunnels of trees, and roads were closed, and all this jazz, and it was terrible.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. So microbursts is something that we should be talking about. I think that there needs to be. I think this less is more, like, feeling needs to be thrown in the trash. I think when it comes to the initiative, it's so counterintuitive to want to do this whole Weather Ready Nation initiative with NOAA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then provide people less information about severe weather. And then act surprised, when damage reports come in. It only makes it more difficult for people trying to like navigate with FEMA and navigate with their homeowners insurance, because the first thing their homeowners insurance is going to say is, well, there wasn't a tornado warning at the time. Well, Susan, I have no idea how my roof wound up in my neighbor's pool. So you tell me. But there have been some significant tornadoes that have gone unwarned, like Whitman, Nebraska, back on June 26th. It was rated an EF3. I don't even think the storm was severe warned at that time. May 5th, 2016, Wilmington, North Carolina was an EF1. August 6th, 2017, Tulsa, Oklahoma, an EF2. That one ran through. Oh man, it might have been either the Paint Horse World Show or the Pinto Horse World Show. One of the two. I remember that. It was flipping horse trailers and all kinds of crap at the fairgrounds in Tulsa. And it was unwarned. We have significant tornadoes here in Indiana that have gone unwarned or delayed warning.
Or there wasn't even an outlook for severe weather.
Oh, yeah. August 24, 2016, Kokomo, Indiana.
Yep.
You guys talked about that, what, yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's hear everybody's thing.
We want to know what you guys think. Because what we're hearing, while you guys pile into our comments and into the channel, so we can hear what you guys have to say about what we're saying right now, we feel, and Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but we feel that the level of public trust in the National Weather Service is at an all-time low. And that
Right.
the public is starting to favor social media sources like us, like Ryan Hall, like Reed Timmer, like we can name anybody. We feel like you guys trust us collectively, people who are on social media doing this. We feel that you guys collectively trust us more than the National Weather Service for up-to-the-minute information and life-saving information at that. Do you guys feel safe in the hands of the current National Weather Service with their warning protocols? Or do you believe that fewer warnings lessen public complacency? Do you guys think that you guys will pay more attention to warnings if there's less of them? Awesome. Seems like you guys are feeling it. Feels like you guys are right there with us and being upset with this. So, we want to know how you guys are feeling. How can we, what could we do more of for you guys to keep you guys safer? Because that's why Indiana Storm Chasers is here. Okay, that's why we're here. We want to cut it to you real. We're never going to hype things.
Oh.
We're never going to do any of that noise. We don't hype. We want to be real with you guys. We want to tell you guys exactly how it is. We want to, address things for what they are and give you the information just straight out of the box. We don't need any of that other crap. So it's frustrating for us to sit there year after year because you're supposed to go.
Michael Jackson song, they don't care about us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what it feels like. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it's just really upsetting. It's just really upsetting because it's one of those things where we have our hands tied. We can't call out warnings. We can't say tornado warning in Jasper County or I think there's Jasper County. Is there a Jasper County? If not, we'll just say Newton County because I just saw Newton County in the chat box. But we can't call out a tornado warning. All we can do is post a radar screenshot, throw it up there on our channel or on our page, and pray to God you guys see it and can get to safety if, in fact, that is a tornado on the ground. That's all we can do.
It's been years. I have not watched it. It has been years I have not watched weather. MSM News. I have not watched what. I get more out of chasers. It has been years I have not watched weather. Yeah, because we're there seeing it. What would happen if we ended up putting our own polygons? Would the National Weather Service trying to shut us down.
No, they might try to discredit us. You'll get a lot of like on-air meteorologists and stuff like that that'll be like saying that we're playing with fire with trying to create our own polygons. But I mean, what's the difference between what we do and what James Spann does when he points out areas that the National Weather Service isn't warning, and he'll literally call a warning 10, 15, 20 minutes before there's a tornado on the ground.
But a lot of times, and I've done that too myself, I'm like, that's going to be warned.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the other teammates too.
Yeah, we have some really talented people on our team.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron White comes to mind immediately. One of the most talented radar jocks I have ever seen. The guy is a whiz. He will look at radar and be like, "Nope, that's going to produce," and he'll call it again.
His third language is dual pole.
That's accurate. And he Christ, it's one of those things like, why isn't and it makes you wonder like what is the National Weather Service doing? Like if they have that needs to go on our soundboard.
Oh yeah, I can find reach understanding that.
Yeah, no, that has to happen. Like we just need that on the soundboard. That's hilarious. My mind is just like I'm sitting here just with my head in my hands, just going, I don't even understand. Because again, our goal is to keep you guys safe, and we hear it all the time. We hear storm stories, as it were, about people getting blindsided by situations where there's just not enough warnings, and that's terrifying to us. Like we don't ever want to hear about it. Most of us have seen tornado damage up close and personal. We've seen houses destroyed. We've seen people displaced by stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not cute. And when we hear from people, well, we never had a new warning. We had no idea it was coming. It just kind of...
Yeah, it's 2024. That needs to stop.
Nobody should be dying because of weather-related issues. Nobody. It's 2024. We should have heating stations and cooling stations set up so people don't die from extreme, temperatures. We should have tornado warnings that are sufficient to get people to shelter. We should have community tornado shelters established in apartment complexes and trailer courts.
Yep. Nice to have that new radar technology out. What was it called?
Oh, that phased array.
That would be sweet. That would be a lot. It would be a lot of help.
It is going to be crazy. I'm really excited to see how that progresses and how they figure out implementing that. And before you guys go crazy, I know they mentioned it in the movie Twisters, but 100% that is not how phased array radar works.
No, that's how Hollywood works.
Yeah, that's how Hollywood works. In fact, I think our next episode we should probably have our resident radar expert on to talk about how phased array truly works and like the fact versus fiction. I think that would be a really good idea. That's a great topic because like
triangulate the tornado.
Yeah, it's got to be within like 50 feet of the tornado somehow. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, no.
It was cute. It was a cute movie, but like the fiction is just God.
What do radar beams use? Like 0.5 degrees of an angle?
Something like that, I think. That'd be a really good question for Eric.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like he just said in the chat in our comments, phased array is actually not new at all. It's been used by the military for forever. I think phased array and the capacity that they're choosing to use it right now, and they're simplifying it, making it smaller because phased array radars, from what I understand, are absolutely massive.
Yeah.
So they're making it a little bit easier to work with and probably a heck of a lot safer to work with because I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can like cook yourself if you get in front of one of those things. So I mean, wonderful how that goes. Absolutely wonderful how that goes. Let's see. No, I'm mad. I am mad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm irritated what's going on with this whole situation with National Weather Service. But you know what? We should try to get them to go on the record about it. Maybe I'll poke at our guys up at northern Indiana
Hmm.
or Chicago. Sometimes Chicago's nicer to talk to than northern Indiana, just depending on who I want to piss off that day. Nobody's driving the car. It's one of them Teslas. Don't ignore the Toyota symbol. It's one of the self-driven Teslas. That's why it's on the wrong side of the road most of the time. So another thing to talk about, something that might impact how weather behaves here in Indiana as we head into the new week. We're gonna see probably the rest of the weekend. It'll be relatively calm here in Indiana based on what I've seen. I don't think really too much has changed since the last time I looked at the models, the forecasting.
A lot of us are probably ready for a break from the humidity. Take a look at it.
Yeah, we're all ready for a break in the humidity. It sounds like Nathan took a step back for just a second, but um, Monday, severe weather has the potential to re-enter the chat, especially in northern Indiana, especially in areas north of Highway 24.
Mm-hmm.
So anything north of 24 is kind of you're gonna want to start thinking about. Again, this is Saturday. We've got tomorrow's gonna be Sunday, and then we have Monday. So things can change drastically from hour by hour. So this is we're not guaranteeing that there's going to be severe weather on Monday for northern Indiana, but there's a good chance.
There's a blip on the radar, for lack of better terms.
So if you're in northern Indiana, Monday probably it's going to be, something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a cold front coming through. Whether or not it storms or not,
yeah,
it's up for debate.
That's up for debate. But the good news is that looking at what the Climate Prediction Center put out, it's looking like we're actually going to be cooler than average for the next 10 to 14 days. Starting, I think, Monday.
Yeah, I'm looking at the dew point temp on the GFS model, and it's showing next weekend, it's showing it drying out, but that's a week away. That can change. Keep it in the back of your mind.
Yeah. So looking at the Climate Prediction Center, their latest, they've got us for the next, should be valid, it's saying from August 9 to August 13. They have us pretty far below normal as far as temperatures for August. So we're going to start August. Well, I guess we've already started August and we're hot and we're humid and we're miserable with these dew points.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to get into August, the second week of August here. And we're going to, into the middle of August there, we're looking at really nice temperatures being very, very mild. Even when I look from the 11th until the 17th, again, the Climate Prediction Center is saying that we are going to be below average as far as temperatures for at least that first half of August.
And when we say below average...
Whoa, I don't know what just happened to your mic. Hold on, folks. We have some technical difficulties going on. I'm not sure what happened here. I'm not sure what happened to his mic. I don't have any audio on Nathan right now, so we'll see if we can fix that here in the next couple seconds. But we'll see what we could do.
How about now?
Oh, now I do. Welcome back.
Weird. Must have been like a timeout.
Yeah, right when you said when we say below average, so I'll let you finish that thought.
Yeah, when we say below average temperature, we don't mean it's going to be 10 or 15 degrees below every single day for the 10 to 14 days. It'll be a few days that are cooler that'll average out slightly below.
Yeah, no.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. No, that's completely correct. Going back into the Climate Prediction Center, it does say for that same period from August 9 until the 13th, it's saying we're going to be drier, a little drier than average. So things will start to dry out like Nathan had said. And then we will be average from about the 11th through the 17th. We'll be like right on average for what August is supposed to do for the state of Indiana. And I know that we have a couple areas in Indiana that are dealing with drought, and I'm waiting to see those numbers change with what we've seen with the weather the last week, because we've gotten a lot of rain. Well, certain areas have gotten a lot of rain. Some areas haven't gotten any, and that's problematic. But you guys can expect to see changes here. Probably a lull in severe weather. I mean, it will re-enter. Likely, I'm not going to say it will. It will likely re-enter the chat on Monday. And then we will wait to see what happens in the next few weeks.
Taking a look at the other models on the humidity.
Yeah, that's good. But needless to say, it sounds like the kids will be going back to school. I think just about everybody else in the state goes back on the 7th. I know some of you all went back with your kids on the 1st. My kids went back on the 1st. And then the 7th will be when everybody else goes back, I believe, in the state of Indiana. So you guys can expect things to be, calm.
Not as stormy as this week was.
No. And, that was the thing that I was very concerned about when we saw this week and we saw the 1st with how stormy the 1st was going to be. I was like, oh, here we go. Because you stop to think about when you hear that there's going to be this morning line of like MCS or an MCV or what have you, or boat segment of storm. We think about kids standing out waiting for the bus.
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing, like how the impacts. You want to think about like that's kind of, at least here, like Indiana storm chasers, that's exactly what we start to think about, or what the human impacts are going to be, what the community impacts are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Is this a game? No, it would be a pretty baller game, though. It would be a lot better than that one Outbreak or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. It's definitely got some polishing to do. Right. Every single tornado in that game is like uber high base, and it's just a noodle. There's no like scud or anything, but other than that, it's on the right track. I mean,
yeah, it's on the right track, but it's definitely something that needs to be developed more.
So. Mm-hmm.
Of course, we've got Debbie down in the tropics. If you guys, if y'all are tuning in from Florida, or Georgia, or anywhere along the Gulf Coast, you probably want to pay attention to Debbie, or if you've got family there, vacationing there. The good news about Debbie is that it's not going to be a wind event, like, at all. Well, I mean, minorly. There are tropical storm warnings now posted, like, pretty much for the entire state of Florida. But it's going to be all about water as opposed to wind. Like, so if you're in Florida or have family, preparations should be underway to take on very, very heavy tropical rains for much of like late tonight, all of tomorrow, probably into Monday, depending on just how fast this system moves. So, and we should not see remnants of Debbie like we did with Burl at all. I think it looks like her track takes her across the peninsula of Florida. She's going to hook right.
Mm-hmm.
High pressure system that's like over middle America right now, so to speak. And then it'll take her back out to sea. Like, she'll go over Georgia and then she'll go back out into the Atlantic, and then whatever she does from there. But it could be one of those situations where like Hurricane Jean, was it Jean or Francis, one of the two, where it literally did that, where it veered away from Florida, like barely love tapped the east coast of Florida, went out to sea, did a whole loop-de-loop, and came back and like tagged Florida, like somewhere on the treasure coast of the east coast of Florida.
Wow.
It was wild. It was crazy. Everyone's cheering, yay, we missed the storm. No, we still got tagged with a Category 3 hurricane. Surprise. So, those are the big topics impacting weather now, pretty much nationwide. Of course, there's wildfires, not flyers. Wildfires out west.
Wildfire.
And that, believe it or not, the smoke and stuff does affect us in our weather here.
Mm-hmm.
Enhances the cap and stuff like that. Impacts Our air quality, so far so good. We're not looking at the air quality like we had last summer with those crazy wildfires up in Canada. Yet.
Fire nados.
Fire nados, dear God,
Have you seen those things on the radar?
yeah. I have. They're crazy.
Yeah.
The coolest phenomena ever.
Intercepted on foot. Kidding.
Or Bonnie back in '98 skirted the coast, died into a tropical storm, then overnight kicked up to a Category 3, slammed into North Carolina and Virginia. Yeah, that's another one. Or Floyd that went all the way up into like New Jersey, New York, that whole area, and then up into Nova Scotia. That's another one. Tropical weather is like super fascinating to me. It's a totally different ballgame than what we're used to dealing with here in the Midwest. And I know I've brought it up a couple times in our live chats when we're dealing with forecasting and stuff. When I'm on forecasting live, I cut my teeth on meteorology and storm chasing in South Florida. So, and weather behaves totally different in a tropical type setting than it does out here in the Midwest. Like the principles are the same, but the behavior is totally. Oh my God! There's a spider. I apologize.
The fuck? Calm down, Spider-Man.
No.
Is it a big one?
Oh God, it was huge.
It,
It flew. It flew. It flew. I'm so sorry, Jem. I'm so sorry.
sorry.
It's. Oh,
Did you just say this? Did you just say the spider flew?
She did.
How the hell?
Because I threw it.
Oh, I was like, the spider's got wings.
Shit. Okay, I apologize, folks. I am so sorry. Oh, I am an arachnophobe. I love jumping spiders. They're precious. There is a jumping spider that lives in my general vicinity here upstairs, and I was not expecting her to be on me, and I felt something like on my arm, and I was like, I kind of brushed it once, thinking, oh, just maybe it was one of the bird feathers, because I have house chickens. I will have to share my house chickens at some point in time on the page. Well, only one's a house chicken, the other one's a house guinea hen, which is really bizarre, I know. But I thought, oh, well, maybe it's just a feather that got blown up by the fan. Whatever. No, I looked down, and it is. I've shown photos of her to Nathan. She is bigger than my thumb. This big black Indiana jumping spider. And she was like in the crook of my elbow, folks. Like, all I saw was this massive 8-legged freak in the crook of my elbow. And y'all are lucky that I didn't just start.
This whole situation makes me think of the Little Miss Muffet rhyme. Little skit. Little Miss Muffet. She sat on her tuffet, eating her curds and whey.
Yeah, more like drinking her Coca-Cola. But, yeah, same deal. Oh, my God. Oh, of course. Now the guinea hen's over here, like, peeking around. He's like, snacks? Don't eat Gem. Gem is good. Gem is good.
You had one job.
I know. So, I don't even remember what I was saying.
You were saying...
Yeah, pretty much. I'm so embarrassed now. But yeah, things that happen on live podcasts and stuff, right? Anyway, love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for putting up with my crap tonight as far as spider attacks. Hopefully that doesn't become a podcast regular.
Must be one of those spiders that parachute down from the sky and get you.
Don't even start. Don't you start. I am an oh my God arachnophobe. Like, I love spiders to like look at them. I think they're beautiful. I think they're amazing creatures. But there's this policy that I have where you don't touch me, you don't die. That's just how that works. Or in this case, poor Gem flew. I'm glad I didn't kill her. I don't know where she went, but I'm sure she's safe. It wouldn't be the first time that this spider has flown. She should know better than to, and she's very friendly. Like, she wants to be friends. I just don't want to be that kind of friend.
No friend.
No, we're the type of friends that don't touch.
Friend from distance.
Friend from distance. We need to be long distance internet pen pals. That's all we need to be. She needs
Internet pen pals on the web.
on the web. Exactly. So, um, okay, I'm all right. My heart rate is like. Don't you dare stop.
I'm sorry, I just saw the lightning on the little background video. I just couldn't help myself. It's my Twitch.
That's what it is. It's a Twitch now. Oh, I don't know what the hell it is. It's just the whole thing. Okay. All right. Well, that about covers everything we wanted to talk about tonight. um, and if you guys wind up having topics that you guys want to talk about or want us to bring up with Chasing After Dark, we ask that you guys go ahead and you can send us an email to our email. It's indstormchasers@gmail.com. So IND's like indie stormchasers@gmail.com. You guys could send us an email with the subject line could just be Chasing After Dark or podcast topic, and just kind of drop it in there. We are happy to talk about or do the research on something that you want to know about, and we're happy to break it down for you. Again, we're going to be very adult in how we talk about things. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're just going to do it. We're going to jump in and get to it. It's going to be a dumpster fire sometimes, but we're going to do it. So, but
trying to behave here.
Be nice.
Trying to be nice.
Be nice. But we're and as we get a lot more into things and are more comfortable with as we do more episodes of Chasing After Dark, we'll probably do a lot of like interviews with other storm chasers. And again, we're all going to be very adult here. You probably want to keep the kids. We're going to keep it relatively tame in that regards, but there will be adult language for sure. So yeah, it's been real. Thank you guys for coming out for a wonderful episode of Chasing After Dark. If you missed part of it or came in late and you want to hear what else we had to say about the topics that we covered tonight, we will have the recording of Chasing After Dark up on our Spotify and also on our YouTube.
Yas.
So we will promote those links on our page as well. Okay? We've had a blast with you guys tonight. We look forward to the next episode. This will probably be done like once a week. If it starts really gaining traction and foothold and we get more topics and more information, maybe once every 2 weeks. But we're going to have a lot of fun with you guys. Renee, thank you so much for being here this evening. We're glad that we could have fun with you this evening. And next episode, next topic, we're going to definitely talk about radar, how it works, why it's not the be-all, end-all as far as weather, why we need how phased array is really going to work. So that should be an awesome episode to hear, filled with all sorts of technological a lot of science fact versus science fiction. So awesome, guys. Again, it's been a blast. We'll catch you guys on the next one. So stay safe. Don't get twisted.